You've tuned in to Gritty Birds on KXRY, Portland X-Ray FM 107.1 and 91.1. I'm your host, Jenny Wren Stotrup. Gritty Birds goes behind the scenes of the music industry with intimate conversations, profiling the personalities and insights of the grittiest artists, makers, and key voices on the West Coast and beyond, every Thursday from 1 to 1:30. In the latest episode of my Treefort series with DIY label Self Group and photographer Ingrid Renan, I met Israeli DIY producer and songwriter Tamar Aphek. Making a name for herself as half of the duos Karusela and Shoshana, as well as the founder of Besides That Festival, Aphek stepped out as a solo artist 2 years ago. Lo-fi and high-affecting, she is a virtuoso on guitar, a fact that stands out in her live performances. Currently, she is at Cannes Film Festival, supporting the Israeli dram comedy she scored, 1 Week in a Day, which The Hollywood Reporter called a combination of modern percussion and more classical rhythms. It musically evokes the imbalance and longing for a return to normal that the characters are feeling and working on. We sat down together with her drummer, Yuval Gorin, while they toured the U.S., including stops at South by Southwest, Treefort, and in Portland, Oregon. Welcome to Gritty Birds, Tamar Aphek.
It's really nice to be here. Thank you very much for inviting us.
Absolutely. I enjoyed your set last night. How did you feel about your show at the Olympic last night?
I'm feeling great. I feel our show is consisted of some maybe rhythms that are more influenced by the country we come from, and it's always interesting to see how the crowd reacts. And I felt the crowd was reacting really good. We had a good bonding with the crowd yesterday, so it was great.
So you've been on tour for a little while now. Tell me a little bit about the tour that you're on right now.
We've started in South by Southwest. We played around 8 shows there. This is our first tour as Tamar Aphek. I'm saying our tour because next to me is sitting Yuval Garin, the drummer of the band. You want to say hello?
Hello.
This was Yuval. And it's been going great. We had a show every night, and we feel the crowd is responding very well. We're enjoying the shows a lot, and it's been great till now.
So you have had a couple different projects for some time. There's Carousela, is that correct? No,
Carousela.
Yeah, Carousela, and then Shoshana.
Right.
I listened to it was a beach video of Carousela. I think it must have been the song that was most popular from the album.
Yeah, Star Quality.
Yeah, and it was interesting seeing how much heavier that was than your current project. It had a little bit less of a metal edge to it.
Right.
What influenced the current your current solo project under your name, and what in the writing that you're doing currently?
When I started Carousela, I felt I wanted to experiment with the guitar more. For me, it was less about writing songs and more about playing guitar. And when you're an artist, you discover yourself, you discover what's your passion. And I discovered that my passion was to bring a lot of energy to the show. Because, there is a question, what's the difference between a show and an album? Why should people come and see a show? They can listen to the album at home. So I felt like, for me, when I see shows, I enjoy the shows that maybe are more theatrical. Theatrical, you got it. Yeah. And I felt a need to bring the theatrical element into the show. And at one point, I felt I wanted to concentrate more on my singing and less on the guitar. And I felt I wanted the energy to come from other members in the band. All the projects I've been involved in had the band vibe or were more similar to a band working together than me telling them, exactly what to do. I feel playing music with people, the beautiful thing about it is to have other people bring themselves into your songs. That's the whole point. So in this project, I feel, for example, Yuval is in charge of the energetic part of the show because he's an amazing drummer and he's very capable technically and concept-wise. And I feel like in this project he's responsible for the energy part, and then I can concentrate on singing the way I want to sing, and which is more the way I talk and less. I sing the way I talk. He brings all the energy, and I think it makes an interesting combination.
It was really interesting listening to your singing because I'm also a singer, and it felt so guttural, but it was really interesting. And I'm curious about how you've developed your vocal, method, how you've developed your voice.
Many times when I write songs, I record them. I just record my voice. Mm-hmm. Just to listen to it in the most raw way I can, and it's important for me to feel comfortable and to feel like I can sing it the way I can talk it, because singing in front of a crowd is a weird thing. When you play drums, you're very inside the instrument. You don't have to look at people so much. And when you play an instrument, you can always, your instrument can be your friend. When you're singing, you have a lot of eye contact with the crowd. I mean, the same way I'm talking to you right now, I could have I could have sang right now, and I want to feel that when I sing, I feel the same way as I feel when I'm talking to you, you know.
Yeah.
So that was mainly the work on my singing. I just wanted to feel that I'm singing the way I'm talking, that I can sing right now and feel just a part of a conversation and not like a different feeling. So part of it was going to the low frequencies, because I don't talk like this, you know. I talk like this. This is my voice. Also because I smoke a lot. So I just wanted to feel like I'm singing the way I'm talking.
When did you start playing guitar?
When I was 20.
What was your experience getting into music in Israel?
Well, when I was younger, I studied in the Music Academy in Jerusalem, which was a classical musical education. And I actually started with piano. So I played classical music like since I was 8 on the piano. And once I got around 20, I felt I wanted to stop with the piano, because for years I've been playing, Bach pieces and Mozart pieces. And I had this great Russian teacher that a lot of things were great with her, but part of the thing that annoyed me was the fact that when I was playing Mozart, I was trying to get into Mozart's head, to play it like Mozart, to play it like Beethoven. And at the age of 20, I felt like each time I go to the piano, I need to get into someone's head. So I felt a little bit bored with that, and that's when I started to pick the guitar, just to have a new way of... when I picked up the guitar, I could play the way Tamar plays, and not the way Beethoven plays or Mozart plays. So that was originally the reason why I switched to the guitar.
What were some of the bands that have influenced your writing the most?
Well, all my childhood, I listened mainly to classical music, and at the age of 20, I just started buying albums like crazy. And it was basically trying to catch up with everything, I just bought everything. I was exposed to the rock music I bought Led Zeppelin, and I bought The Doors, and I bought the Rolling Stones, everything together, But at the time, Radiohead put out OK Computer, and that album really made me want to pick up a guitar. So that was like that was the album that I think was the practical reason why I took the guitar, but I was pretty much influenced from everything together.
So I also relate to the idea of being classically trained. One of the experiences I had was moving from classical to being able to learning chordal theory on piano, and everything was really challenging. Was it an easy transition going from classical to writing rock music?
It's an interesting question. It actually has to do a lot with things me and Yuval talk about. Yuval said the other day we were having a conversation, all the band. We said there are two ways of becoming an artist. I think you said it, right? One is by educating yourself and creating something, and the other one is not necessarily putting so much energy on educating yourself, but just trying and learning from the mistakes. Right, Yuval? I said it correctly. And Yuval said this a couple of days ago, and I think it's interesting. I think there's always the question, how much music do you want to be influenced by, and how much music do you want to create, and what's the relationship between the two? I think the decision between whether you will now put an album or write a song is part of your process of being an artist. The balance is exactly what being an artist means. Every day you decide what you put your energy into. And I'll answer your question. When I started writing rock songs, I think the fact I was the fact I listened to so much classical music just brought in something, it brought a lot of classical elements to my songs, and I wasn't trying to follow up the templates of rock songs or anything. I was just I mean, I think once you put a guitar into an amplifier and you start singing, it's a rock song, you know? It doesn't take too much more than that.
That's really funny. So you put together a festival.
Yeah.
You're an organizer. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, now I don't organize it anymore, but about, I think it's almost 9 years ago. 9 years ago in Israel, there was a really small scene, which was very, very influenced by bands like Fugazi and Shellac and Jesus Lizard. And many bands in Israel were very, very influenced by these bands. And there were shows happening in Israel that, you know, around 50, 60 people would show up. But at one point, it felt like it started getting bigger, you know, like at some point, like one show had 200 people, and then another show had 100 people. It started growing. And I felt that it was time to have a festival. When the idea was that the bands and crowd that like this kind of music would show up, but also people who like nature will show up. And this combination will create something special because more people will be exposed to this music and friendships could evolve and cooperations could evolve. And back at the time it seemed absurd. But when I did the first one, around 700 people came, which was a success. Then when I did it the second time, 1,500 people came. And then when we did it the third time, 1,500 people came. When we did the festival, I also organized another festival I helped another festival, which is called Indie Negev, we worked together at the beginning, and they kept on doing it. I stopped with it and concentrated on music. And by today, there are around 8,000, 9,000 people who show up to this festival. And more festivals are growing and more events are growing. So it's pretty amazing because Israel is so small, but considered, in a relative way, the scene there is exploding.
What are some of the bands you're excited about in Israel?
There are many interesting Israeli artists. Yuval really likes Uri Ramirez. I personally, there's a band called The Crotches, which I like. There's a band called Red Excess, which does interesting stuff and also tours a lot outside of Israel. Personally, I'm a good friend of mine, Yonatan Gat, which is originally Israeli. Now he lives in New York. He has a project which is named after him with an Israeli drummer, which is great in my opinion.
Who are touring around the U.S. at the moment? I
guess you mentioned a couple. Charigim, which are touring.
Yeah. We tried to reach out to them, but didn't get the interview. Yeah, did you? When are they playing? Did you catch them yet, or do you know them?
No, we always miss them because when they have a show, we have a show.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're great, and they're great fans also.
How many days a year do you tour?
About 3 months a year.
About 3 months. Where are your favorite places to tour? I know you play around the world.
Well, it really depends. I really love Portugal. I think there's an amazing scene going on there. Maybe it's my favorite place to play.
What's special about Portugal?
First of all, they remind me of the Israelis a lot. I'm not sure why. I think Portugal is going through. It's not easy for them financially. What's going on there? There is some crisis, some economical crisis, but I feel like even though life is not easy for them, they are very, very uplifted and very united. And they managed to arrange some of the coolest festivals in Europe. And there is a special energy in Portugal. It's hard to explain.
What are some of the festivals you mentioned that you really like over there?
Well, I played there in Barreiro Rocks, which was a great festival, and Milhouse Fest. And that's the festivals I played in. But I've talked to the organizers over there, and it seems like they're having a really exotic and fascinating scene over there. Also, I really feel they are they listen to really good music. I think they are very curious about music from albums that that didn't get the right. A lot of the people in the scene there are doing archaeological researches about albums from the 70s and the 60s in different places in the world, and there are like many small labels over there that are reissuing it, and it feels like they really love music and really curious about it and really educated about it and always in search for special things and exotic things. And I like the way they love music over there. It seems very real and less fashion. It's less. I mean, it seems like they are promoting the music they really feel is good, and less promoting bands that could, fashionably be interesting. Like they don't go by fashion; they go by true love of music. Yeah. That's what I feel like more than anywhere in Europe, maybe.
Do you prefer the studio or the road?
I think you can't separate one from another. There is something about being on the road that creates a hunger to be in the studio, and which maybe if you wouldn't be on the road, this hunger wouldn't be the same. But generally speaking, I prefer being in the studio, but that's because I'm on the road right now. Maybe when I would be in the studio, I prefer being on the road. Yuval, how do you feel about it? Do you want to answer?
In my opinion, there's misunderstanding about being on the road and being in a studio. I think a lot of people feel they need to do both of those things, even though, in my opinion, it's like completely different art. Like it's like drawing and making an album. It's like being on the road and making an album.
Yeah.
I like both. I don't prefer one of them.
Do you play with anyone else besides Tamar?
Now, no.
Nice. Who else have you played with in the past? Or what are some of your other bands? Maybe.
There were a couple of bands, but I have my bad I have a memory problem. So you will forgive me.
I should use this.
We're also at a festival, and I think we've all stayed up too late every night, so you can have all the memory problems you want. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. I had a question because of that. Where are you based in Israel? I know a little bit about Tel Aviv. From
Actually, Yuval lives in a place called Udim.
Udim?
Yeah, and we spend there a lot of hours.
Yeah,
and I feel like this place is really special, and really contributed to our music. So actually, Udim, where Yuval lives, that was the home for our band right now.
Yeah.
We spend there a lot of hours, and it's a very nice place, energetic wise. It's about 20 minutes from Tel Aviv. I live in Jaffa in Tel Aviv.
Do you feel that the arts are embraced in Israel?
I think definitely no. The embrace of the culture in Israel is it's like if you're like an artist in Israel, it's like find a job. You don't do nothing.
Hey, it's almost like here. Actually, not too different. Okay, all right. That's hilarious. My last question is, if you were to give any advice to an artist who's starting to get involved with music, like what would it be?
Not to take other people's opinions so seriously.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for coming in. It's really nice to meet you. And your set last night was wonderful. Got a little video.
Thank you very much.
And I don't know. Enjoy the rest of the festival.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tamar Aphek, for coming on to the show. In this week's episode, I featured Dream Inside a Dream and No Time for Love from her 2014 EP, Collision. Keep your eyes out for 1 Week in a Day when it comes to independent theaters in the next year. Thanks again for tuning into Gritty Birds on KXRY, Portland X-Ray FM, 107.1 and 91.1. I am Jenny Wren Stottrup. Check out episodes from last season as well as blog posts on new releases in West Coast music on GrittyBirds.com. Full episodes are released on iTunes and Vortex Music Magazine on Fridays. Please follow the show on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at GrittyBirds and on xray.fm. Tune in next week for my interview with electronic artist Christopher Willits in the penultimate episode of my Treefort series.
Streets smell of meat. Your eyes remind me of a time when I didn't mind putting my brackets on the line. Eyes mostly closed. God can be fair in spite the smell of fast food. It's in the air. Paris is failing its way to the top as you're still tired from looking for the bus stop. You're too dressed for this morning, and it is more important to play signs without warning. Complaints that end up cornering the vigor of your heart. They trick you into thinking you're so smart. She's too dressed for this morning, and it is more important to play signs without warning. Complaints that end up glimmering the vigor of her heart. They tricked her into thinking she's so smart. Complaints that end up cornering the vigor of your heart.
tricked